You can call these a material or materials, or a textures or textures. Okay, so anisotropic, and we have Boolean here, and the Lambert and the Pong and Pong E. Anisotropic. Have you? I don't really think that you need this kind of realistic, super hyper, crazy realistic texture. Even if you have some kitchen item, I don't know, if you're really ambitious about creating this kind of textures, this is about it. And it's terrific. It's a material, a textures that represents surfaces with grooves, such as compact disc, CD, feathers, fabrics like velvet or satin. So on the other hand, the Boolean is a material, and that is particularly effective at simulating metallic surfaces. For example, brass and aluminum, which typically have a soft specular highlight. So where can you find this anisotropic and Boolean and Lambert and Pong in? So if you go to Maya, you should go right here. Can you see this tiny icon here? So you need to open this one. And on the left, we have the top window, and we have 3 columns, actually including this 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. You can find anisotropic and Lambert and Pong kind of things in here. So for instance, if you like to find the Lambert is one of the 5 DS materials, anisotropic and Boolean and Lambert and Pong in. If you like to find Lambert, you just type here, go there, see, here's Lambert, and you find this Lambert. If you like to find the Pong, see PH, O, and G, and you can find several different Pong and Pong E. Boolean, same thing. See, you see that? Boolean. There are a bunch of products, lots of material, hundreds of materials. Oh, of course, we're not gonna check every single material, but the reason why I pick up, only 5 materials, because these are popular. Yeah, I can say popular, material among artists and animators. Lambert is a material that represents matte finished surfaces, such as chalk, matte paint, and unpolished surfaces. There is no specular highlight at all. Lambert. And Pong E are kind of similar. Pong is a material that represents glassy and glossy surfaces, such as car moldings, telephone, like smartphone, bathroom, fittings with a hard specular highlight. Pong. And Pong E is material that is a simpler version of the Pong. And the specular highlights on Pong E surfaces are softer than those on Pong surfaces. The Pong E surfaces render faster. And then I'm going to also show you how to apply these textures in the materials. And the Hypershade, we already checked it. Where is Hypershade? Hypershade is right here. So you should open this. So this is kind of central location, central window where you mess with, play with, or mix texture, create your final texture for your object. Hypershade is the central working area of Maya rendering, where you can build a shading network by creating, editing, and connecting and rendering nodes such as textures, materials, lights, rendering utility, and the special effect. Let me create our first material. Okay, I'm going to use the Lambert. So you go there and type LAM, or you can scroll down and find Lambert. Where's the Lambert? You can find the Lambert right here. You can find the Boolean right here. And you can find Pong and Pong E. You can find the other material. Let's scroll down. See, many materials there. Or here's you go this empty space right here. Okay, empty space. Hit tab, TAB, tab key, and then type LMM. And then from scroll down, and you can easily find the Lambert. You see that? It's one the main node and the supplementary node. There are 2 nodes. So this is one node. Look at this. It's a rendering node, connecting, rendering. It's already connected. As soon as we created Lambert, say this 2 node has been connected already. So connected. So on the other hand, what if you create a Pong right here, or you can go empty space there and tap PHO. Now we got Pong right here. You see that? It's connected. It's connected. This one. So if you like to delete this or disconnect this one, you can delete it. See, look at this. You can delete it. You can delete it. You can delete it. Look over here. So on the top window, it's long, horizontal, window. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 material. You might wonder, we haven't created actually any. We just created two materials. One was Lambert, the other one was Pong, but we delete them, right? We removed, from this window. But how can we still see 1, 2, 3, 4 in materials? Who created this material? We didn't. Actually, Maya did. So if we don't have this material, you won't see. You can't see this sphere. You can see this cube without this material. The reason why we can still see these two objects without actually creating and applying any texture and without creating any lights. And so look at this, it's the glow things and the shader things. We haven't dealt with anything with this, but we still clearly see these two in object, default material. These are default. You cannot delete this one. See, even if you select this, delete, you cannot delete it. You cannot delete it. Maya created this default material. So you are not supposed to use one of this material for your object. Instead, you should create your own texture, So let's say you want to apply some color and textures, okay, on this sphere. You should make your own. So go here, empty space here, and then I'm gonna hit the tab key, and then Lambert. Okay, Lambert. Let's like this Lambert. So you have a Lambert. So how come we got this kind of a name? Even if we just selected Lambert, how come we have a number 2 there? Because the default, the Lambert 1 has been taken. Default material, Lambert 1, so that we cannot have the materials with exactly the same name. So Maya automatically add in number 2. We don't like to have the Lambert 1, Lambert 2, Lambert 3, Pong 1, Pong 2, Pong 3. Later on, you'll need many material to apply the textures and colors on your objects. Lambert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not a good idea. So instead, give a unique name per in each material you create. So instead of Lambert 2, like you can say, so go here, and then instead of Lambert 2, you can type June, or you can type yellow like this. So look at this. Now we have Lambert 1 and his particle. These are all default color shader, and the shader 1 is yellow. So later on, right now we have only 5 materials. But what if we have 50 materials later? It's very hard to, very confusing. So which one are you looking for? Sometimes it takes a long time to find the right and proper texture that you like to use. You're about applying on your object. So this is very clear. You can quickly find the yellow. Okay, this is what I want. It's yellow. So we just create our first material here. Large window, the Hypershade window. I don't normally work with Hypershade after creating my material. Sometimes I just close this one and work with attribute editor, which I prefer, so that the Hypershade in the window doesn't bother my workspace. We just created our first material called yellow. So if you click this, let me show you how to apply this yellow material on this sphere. There are several different ways. Number 1, so we are about applying this texture on here. Right click, select first, right click, and you will see assign material. What material? This material, yellow material, to selection right here. Selection is this one. Select one more time. So you like to apply some textures and go to Hypershade and try to find it right materials. In this case, is yellow. Right click, assign material to selection. Actually, it looks like nothing has been changed because the current color of this yellow material is light gray, and same as the default color. So since we typed in, we gave our new material as yellow. I'm gonna select this yellow, not Lambert. Okay, yellow. I'm gonna select yellow there. All right. You see that? Now we got yellow here. So if you select different color, like for instance green or blue, you see that? Red. So it changes. Purple. See? Duplicate this one. All right, so we're going to create other materials. I'm going to go to this empty space here and hit tab key, and also Lambert. And instead of Lambert 3, I'm going to rename this one as blue. Okay, and then select the blue. Okay, this is yellow. and this is blue. Okay, we have two materials. Okay, types of material are Lambert, right? This is Lambert, and this one also Lambert. Both are Lambert, but the difference between these two is just color. This one's yellow, and this is blue. So the rest of the things are same. Okay, so let's apply the this blue, okay, material on here on this second ball. What we can do, you can click and select this, okay, and go to blue. Where is blue? Where is this blue? Right click, assign material to selection. You see that? Now we got blue here. All right. Again, if you like to apply yellow material on this blue ball, select this ball and select this ball and right click, assign material to selection. Now we got the yellow. Another way you can apply, texture. Number two, select your object, right click, and then scroll down, and you'll find assign new material, assign favorite material, and you can find assign existing material. So what I mean by that is existing materials means the material that we have created. So these two, that means these two, yellow material and blue material. So select this one, and let's say you want to apply the blue material on this. Right click and go assign existing material. And you should see in blue and yellow and default as well. So you can select this blue. So you got blue here. Again, number three. Again, let's say, for instance, if you like apply this yellow material on this blue ball, middle mouse button, and you will see plus sign and drag it over. Very simple, right? Again, if you like to apply blue, select this blue material, middle mouse button, and drag it over. Same thing. If you like to apply blue on this yellow ball, select this blue, middle mouse button, and drag it over. Yellow, you want to apply yellow on here, on this the blue ball, yellow, middle mouse button, and drag it over. So there are several different way to apply textures and colors on your object. This will bother you while creating your object, definitely. I'm pretty sure that. So what you can do, you can just close it after creating whatever materials that you need, and you can just close it. And you can still work with texture by going to, as I told you earlier, attribute editor without actually opening Hypershade. But you might wonder, June, but how can I create a new material? So far, we have two materials, right? One was yellow, the other one was blue. So what if you like to create another material, additional material, like say green material? You like to create green material. So how can I create the new material without opening this Hypershade? What you can do, so let me duplicate this. All right. So imagine you like to create a new material. That will be our third material, and apply the new material on this third ball, 1, 2, 3 ball, this ball. Right click and then go right here, assign new material without opening Hypershade window and panel. All right, and then I'm gonna choose another Lambert here. Okay, this will be our third material. Lambert, and don't just leave this material as Lambert 1, 2, 3, Pong 1, 2, 3. Rename this one. Okay, now let's type the green. All right, you want to check Hypershade? Okay, do you see this green? So without opening, you can still create a new material without opening, without working with Hypershade window. So now we have blue, green, and we have another one, yellow. So 3 materials. All right, so I rename this. Green is right here. Where is it? Attribute editor. The default color is light in a gray, and then click this. Let's say green there. Right click, yellow. Right click, and assign existing material. I'm going to choose blue. Do you see that? Three different material: yellow, and blue, and green. Okay, next. Imagine that you are going to create elevation, prominence and the depression, like unevenness, tangible, tactile texture. So as you can see, these are all just perfectly smooth. I never hit actually 3. Once I hit 3, you see that? It's perfectly smooth. Imagine when you touch basketball, like for instance, basketball, and you should feel kind of tactile, feeling. Imagine you hold an orange. In case you like to add some kind of prominence and depression and unevenness. you need to deal with the bump map. Right click, and I'm gonna go to assign new material. Let's select the this time is pawn E. That's probably too much. Let's just start with Lambert. We can adjust this one, okay. And then we like to rename this one as orange. You see that I just created a new material called orange without opening Hypershade. So if you go to Hypershade, you must find the orange. I can apply this one. And the color, well, you can adjust the color. It is kind of close to the orange. Okay, I just added the typical orange in color on this sphere. Does this look orange? I mean, it does look like a ping pong ball, like a table tennis ball. But it doesn't look like orange. Okay, here you go. Look at this. Okay, this is very important characteristic. You see that the wrinkle here, about 5 or 6 wrinkles. This is very important characteristic of orange. Without this, okay, without this skin, look at this unevenness in tactile, okay, in textures, and these wrinkles and this, yeah, you can't really tell if this is oranges or apples or some other fruit. People have no idea what it is. I mean, even if you create it in orange, people have no idea what it is. So look at this. This is a very important characteristic of the orange. So you need to create this one if you like to create believable, the oranges or fruit right here, prompt map. So this is orange, a new material on the common material attribute is the color and transparency. You see that we don't need this transparency for creating the oranges, right? Definitely not. So we don't have to deal with this transparency things. So if you create some kind of thin material, like a thin plastic or glass material, you have to deal with this transparency so that we can, see through. Look at this. See, you can see through. Look at this. This is about transparency. But for the orange texture, yeah, we don't need this transparency. And the ambient colors, there is incandescence. And the next thing you see, we have 3 more options. Look at diffuse, translucency, and the translucency depth. Yeah, see, several options here. Yeah, many options you mess with. But what's important here, in order to create this kind of tangible texture, you need to go to bump mapping. If you go to bump mapping, do you see this checkerboard here? Checkerboard, everything check. Every single option has checkerboard. So you need to click this checkerboard. And then we'll often create a render, a node. Then here's a bunch of different. We have bulgy and we have checker, we have clothes and file, many days. Apply this one, noise or in a sample noise. Okay, let's select this sample noise. This is called like a texture. You don't, if you use solid color only, these are solid color. Look at this, yellow and blue, and these all solid colors. If you use solid color only, and then you're not interested in dealing with this kind of texture, okay, you don't need to check on this one. So this is called like a texture. You don't need to click this one. You see that texture next to the right before the light bulb icon, so texture. So now you should see the texture. So again, if you use solid color only, you don't need this. But if you apply bump map, you should check on this texture. Otherwise, you won't see. Otherwise, you won't see this kind of texture. So we just apply our first bump map on these oranges, but it doesn't look like oranges at all. But it looks like some rock or some ugly stone. After that, so we already select the noise. You should see here's noise and click. So look at this. After applying bump mapping, our checkerboard icon has been changed to box with a tiny arrow inside. That means you already applied something that's noise. You can see here, so you don't have to guess. So this is it. Noise is the one we applied on this. All right. So sometimes you like to get rid of this one. In this case, you have to disconnect this bump mapping. Right click and then choose this break connection, disconnect the connection. So once you choose this, you won't see the noise, particularly the bump mapping that you applied. So if you like to choose again, click this checkerboard. See, look at this. Now we see checkerboard here, and go there's a noise. See, do you see that? select this, and now you see noise here. Then pop up. We click this. So you should go to bump mapping and click this icon to see this noise, the attribute in the window. There's a bunch of different options here. So look at this threshold, and here's the amplitude, and the ratio, frequency, and the depth. We'll have another frequency here. Influence. See, like there's so many options. Here's the density. This is, I think amplitude a little too much. Let's go here. And the frequency ratio. That's better. And then this might be interesting too. Here's a below polling. See, wave. So what is this? So there's so many different. So look at this. That's huge different. Okay, huge different. Okay, one more time. So the one that we applied, the bump mapping that we applied on this ball, this field was noise. So if you like to disconnect this, the one just applied in here, so right click and break connection. So we don't have that anymore. And then click the checkboard, and then like for instance, you can try something else. Let's forget about orange, like here is checker. So you can get this kind of stuff, checker. Okay, and then break it. And what if you use the bulge? You see that? Look at this. Break. Sample noise. You see that? The select and click this icon and go to sample noise 1, and then you can change the scale. See, look at this ratio. Okay, let's keep talking about this bump. Make a new one, new material, and choose Lambert. Some test. So these color existing material. Let's test. Okay, the type of material that I chose, okay, was Lambert, as you can see here, and the name of this material is just test. Okay, this time we're not going to use the bump mapping, but we're going to explore the this color a little bit. Color. Okay, so you should see checkerboard everywhere. And last time when we applied this kind of unevenness on this, the surface of this orange, we use the bump mapping. But this time, let's try explore this one, the color. If you go to color, and then you should see, say you can change color. You can definitely change color. Say this, and then go to checkerboard and open and create render node. But for instance, if you choose like Boldsy, you can change transparent. You can play with this stuff. Say here's ambient color, the diffuse. And what's interesting about this, and after applying, this was actually bulgy. After applying this, you can still actually adjust the position and the scale of this pattern by going to, this is bulge and the place 2D texture right here. And you see that you can adjust to this kind of rotation. And just a repeat UV, looks like the default is 4 and 4. So what if we go to a higher number than 4? You see that? Look at this. Say like 15 and 15. So you can achieve this kind of pattern very quickly. What if you go even lower than 4, like 2 and 2? So look at this. 6 and 6. 6. Okay, you can like to delete this one. See, now we see all checkerboard. We don't see actually the checkerboard here, but we see a hollow box and with tiny errors. So you have to break it. If you like to try something else, break connection first, and then it turns to, look at this, checkerboard, click this, And let's try something else here. So like a ramp here. So what it does is, so we have just the light gray color, and this is ramp, okay, R-A-M-P. And what's really interesting about this ramp is it's just a click. You can open this larger window, or just click here and just add a color. You see that is, you can create like a gradient. You see, gradually changing the lighter, and the yellow, more yellow, more yellow. Yeah, you can of course mix the few different color here, like for instance here, and then you can drag this. You see that? See, it's very interesting to play with. See that? See this. See the wave. See this. The type. The default is V lamp, U lamp. Sorry, I should say. So you are going to make about 30-second to 60-second long an animation by the end of the semester. A little early, but well, let's quickly briefly talk about the rendering. So you should render your animation, render your 3D scene, 3D environment, okay, into a time-based element. So this is we haven't animated anything, so we have some object here, but you should know how to render this stuff. This is the icon you can render. So, okay, I click on this render. This is render icon. So as you can see, this is render view. So if you go to outliners, these are in the contents that we have here. Although we have default light here and default object, default object set here, actually these two lights don't do anything with the rendering. In order to see, so after rendering this, we have several objects here, but we see nothing. So you need to create lights. So we're gonna talk about the in-depth of a light, and not today, later. But let's go to Arnold and go to lights, and I'm gonna just click the physical lights. And I'm not gonna use this render view, but I'm gonna use the Arnold render view here. You see that? There are several different methods in rendering your animation. So if you go to render setting there, render using two different rendering method, rendering ways. So do you see software here? And do you see hardware here? And do you see vector? And another renderer, another renderer. So as you can imagine, these first three, software, hardware, and the vectors are a little outdated. What I'm trying to say is this one, Arnold, is the latest technology of rendering. So you can try again, software, hardware, or you can try this renderer. This is software. Let me create another light here. Software, hardware, Arnold. So this is Arnold, hardware, software. They're all slightly different. But I can guarantee, I promise you guys that you can definitely get the better image quality and more sophisticated, images if you use Arnold. Let me delete this, and I'm going to use the physical sky and Arnold render. And again, okay, this is Arnold render, and the latest later rendering technology, and hardware. Okay, so let me create another light here. Okay, hardware, and then software. Okay, one more time, software, hardware, That's Arnold. The reason why background is so bright is the light that I created, that I used, were one is AI sky dome and the other one is directional lights. One, this one, sky dome light, can be found under Arnold. So you go to Arnold and the lights and sky dome lights. If you go to the regular menu, so create and lights, and you can find the sky dome. Why sky dome light is newer lights. You can only find the sky dome light on the Arnold, and then here's sky dome light. This is sky dome light, but the directional light can be found under here, create and the lights, and here's directional lights. But again, so if you don't want to bother with other software and hardware, and just use this out the render. Yeah. If you like to apply, like for instance, this kind of logo or patterns on these certain surfaces of the objects. Like new material, the Lambert, big red. Okay, just imagine that you like to. These are all solid colors, and solid color with bump map, and this one is solid colors with ramp, R-A-M-P. What if you like to apply this kind of logos? Okay, illustration on like a top, face. Top face means right here. If you like to apply, okay, big red on here. So in order to place patterns of logos or illustration in a specific place surface, you need to follow a few more steps. Okay. Okay. Did I create big red? Okay, right here. So I already created big red. If you go to Hypershade, you should see big red right here. Okay, big red. New material. Then I go to a common material attribute, big red, common material attribute, and you should go to color and click the checkboard. And we're seeing this create a render node in a panel several times today. So this is the place you can find the fractal in a grid and bold. You remember checker kind of things? The one, in order to bring, okay, import in the WKU, this big red into our Maya workspace, you should select this one, file, where to common material attribute and color, and then click the checkboard, open create render node, and click this file. So what do you see? Image name, file attribute, file one, and here's file attribute image name, and you will see this icon, folder icon, and let's select big red, and then I'm gonna open this. Okay, we just placed the big red illustration on this box, but what we need to do after placing this illustration on this box, we need to deal with this one, UV mapping. Here we go, UV. UV mapping places the texture directly on the surface of your object. The user surface's coordinate, called the UVs for its positioning. In this case, you must do a lot of work to line those. They haven't been aligned, as you can see, haven't been aligned. It's not very easy to line this up. So our initial idea, the original idea was to place this big red illustration on top, right? Top this face, right here. But it goes to everywhere right now. So you must do a lot of work to line up and the UV on the surface to make sure the created image is lined up properly. This is UV editor, so you need to open this one. Let me hide this. You can leave the UV editor open while the lining up as textures or patterns or illustration. Just this is our workspace. So this is our workspace, and this is UV editor. So what is the main difference between Maya in workspace and UV editor? This is three-dimensional in a cube, but on the other hand, if you look at the UV editor, you should see unfolded, okay, unfolded 6 faces. This cube consists of 6 faces, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. But if you go to Maya workspace, you should see folded, right? This is three-dimensional in a cube, but if you go to UV editor, you should see flat, like an unfolded, okay, unfolded 6 faces. So if you select the UV shell, okay, UV shell, you can select all in 6 faces, and then you go to Maya workspace. You should see all 6 faces selected. What if you select just one face instead of all 6 faces? So right click and you can just go to a face. So look at this. So for instance, you like to find top face, just click either the top face from the Maya workspace or in the UV editor. This is corresponds to this. Look at this. This one is this same one. That corresponds. So what if you select this one? See, this one is same. The front view. What about here? You can click here, this. So for instance, if you like to place a specific illustration or logo or whatever patterns, like a big red and red towel or WKU logo or patterns, whatever, you can select that in a specific face, either on my workspace or in the UV editor. So like for instance, not here, so if you like to apply the big red logo or the illustration on here, you can click and select it, or you can select right here, same thing. So click, select. Just remember the 3-dimensional and there's 2-dimensional. So go here, if you click this, you should see, let's say, right here. The reason why we see just part of this mascot, a big red only. So you see that? So W part actually cut off, part of a W. See, part of a U, WKU, and here. The reason why? So look at this, because our top face is located right here. So you can. What if you hit R like scale? Can you do like this? You see that? And then hit W. So you can do like this. Look at this. See? But here's a great tip. Thanks to the people working hard in Autodesk.com, they kind of released new tools, technology. You can definitely do it manually. You can go to just UV shell, or you can go to object mode and click and select this one, and go to create. You can find this kind of stuff: automatic and camera-based and normal-based, cylindrical and planar and the spherical like this. And I tested, of course, many times this stuff, but I found this one is great, fantastic. Automatic. So instead of selecting UV shell on the face and select in a specific face and then change the scale, and maybe sometimes you need to rotate it, right? Rotate and move. You can definitely do this. It takes a long time. So rather than this, what we can do, go to object mode, just click create automatic. You can find this automatic menus on the UV toolkit. UV toolkit is different from the modeling toolkit. So you go see a bunch of options here and create. Look at this. Let's create. You can find automatic, normal-based, in a cylindrical and a planar. Same thing here and here. So either way, you go to create on the UV in the toolkit and the create, and simply just click once. Boom. So after applying this automatic, so Maya is looking for the best in a place, okay, best alignment, best layout for this WKU in a big red. And after that, and what we like to do, we like to place this illustration on here, okay? On here, you gotta select this one. You wanna place this logo mascot here, 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 or you gotta select it. So I'm gonna select this top, and then click automatic again. See that? That's it. We got it here. See, mascot has been placed. This is kind of perfect impression. Automatic makes this happen. You don't have to do it manually. It's not easy. It's not going to be perfect. Now, see, let's say, for instance, if you like to place this logo or illustration or pattern on this specific face, just click and select automatic. See, you want to place this logo here, select this face, automatic. So what if you like to rotate? For instance, if you like to rotate over 45 degree, 90 degree, what if you like to flip? You can find the transform here, transform. You can find the rotate. This is rotate and the scale, and also you can find the flip. So let's rotate this. So I'm gonna rotate, okay? Rotate, rotate. You see that? Rotate, rotate. Or you can flip this by clicking this. See, flip. See?